If you're feeling annoyed about the lack of progress you're making with your French, then even just making one of the big mistakes that I'm going to reveal in this video could be holding you back. How do I know that? Well, because I made every single one of them. And when I stopped, my progress took off, which ultimately helped me reach an upper intermediate level in French. So in this video, I'm going to reveal what these big mistakes are, how they're holding your French back, and how any French learner can easily avoid them to speak more fluidly and confidently and see real noticeable progress. So first, let's go back to where my French journey started. School. School taught me a lot of things, and I actually still have all the booklets that I used to use in classes. I can look at the texts that we studied, see my little annotations and highlights. And whilst we did cover a large number of topics, learned a lot of vocabulary, covered a lot of grammar points, most of what we did was read and annotate texts. And when I came out of school, I could not properly speak to natives, and I certainly couldn't understand them. And after 7 years of learning French at school, not being able to understand is incredibly frustrating. I obviously was missing a huge chunk out of a big picture. So how did I fix it? Well, last year when I restarted learning French, everything changed one day at the Alliance Française when my teacher played for me an easy French YouTube video. And that was the catalyst that I needed to take the plunge and start immersing myself in French videos, TV shows, listening to French podcasts, which I recently did a whole video about, watching or listening to content that interests you whilst you expose yourself to the spoken French language is incredibly powerful. Once I started this, my French actually improved so much in just a couple of months that I just ended up dropping out of the Alliance Française altogether because I couldn't really map my skills and my goals to one particular level. So basically, the mistake I made was not immersing and exposing myself to authentic French content sooner. But let me ask you this, what's the point of understanding everything if you're too scared to use it? Back in school, not only was I missing immersing in authentic French, but I was also terrified of making mistakes, and this fear held me back a lot. Soon after, I started delving into the world of French YouTube last year. Even though I was scared, I bit the bullet and I started speaking with a native tutor on the platform italki. From the first call, my tutor was so kind and really great at leading conversation. But beyond that, these conversations revealed something so impactful that I never could have predicted. I noticed myself getting really stuck trying to tell a story, but stumbling so much and realizing I didn't have the proper words or the proper conjugations of the verbs I was using made me realize I was lacking the imperfect tense. I had nailed something specific that I had to go and work on, and then at my next conversation, I'd actually be able to practice it. Only through speaking and making mistakes can you uncover your true weaknesses. So I focused on addressing these weaknesses during the Lingoda sprint. I went from barely being able to have French conversations to being able to confidently speak and also effortlessly follow along with YouTube videos targeted at native speakers. But what happens when the very thing that helped you improve suddenly becomes the thing holding you back? About a month after I completed the Lingoda sprint, whenever I would take a difficult, complicated class, instead of embracing the challenge and the discomfort, I found myself holding back. In this time, I had grown too comfortable feeling like I was top of the class and had lost sight of what it meant to have an always learning mindset. I stopped taking classes and just kept watching the same old YouTube channels that had gotten me where I was. The thing is, I knew, probably like you do, that consistently challenging myself was the main thing I needed to work on. But I just did nothing about pushing it to the next level. And I actually think this is probably one of the most common mistakes language learners make, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you're not growing at the rate that you want, then you have to change something, which at some point will mean taking a step out of your comfort zone. But if you're not ultimately focused, then it's just not going to go anywhere. This takes me to my most recent mistake, which has not only impacted my French, but it's also hindered my German. Something came to me just a couple of weeks ago when I was just searching for a piece of content to study, and it made me realize I had to finally be very very honest with myself. Looking back on this year, whenever I've gone to read a newsletter, pick a video to watch, or choose a podcast, I see both my French and German subscriptions. But I've been telling myself that the French content will be quick and easy to consume, so I might as well squeeze it in first, and then afterwards I can tackle the more challenging German content. But in doing this seemingly small action repeatedly, hundreds of times over the course of this whole year, I can see why my German has not progressed further, but perhaps also unsurprisingly, neither really has my French. And I think that not fully committing to one thing and dividing your focus between too many things at once is something that hits us all in some form or another, because it's basically just another form of procrastination, but it's sneaky because it's disguised as productivity. I thought I'd be bettering my French whilst also improving my German, but all I've done is been spreading myself thin, and by the time I've watched a French video, I don't have as much energy to spend on German. I have realized that I have not been immersing myself in German in the same way that I did last year, which skyrocketed my French progress. I've realized for me, I just cannot focus equally on two languages at once. I will still watch a French movie for fun on occasion, or a French video that I just really enjoy watching. Other than that, I'm not going to keep trying to fool myself in saying that, yeah, I can just squeeze in a French video here and there before I do my German, because my French literally has not improved in doing this. But here's the thing, knowing all these mistakes that I have done and now knowing what you can avoid is one part, but without taking any proper action, you won't get very far. That's why you should go and watch this video here next if you want to learn 5 easy ways you can implement your French every single day. Merci beaucoup d'avoir regardé cette vidéo et bonne chance. Bah, j'espère que c'est exactement ce que j'ai fait. Ouais. Ok, voilà.